Hey guys, I'm actually filming a vloggy sort of video on my GoPro, so hopefully this turns out pretty cool. If I keep looking down, don't worry, it's just me checking myself. But anyway, I'm going to get straight into this video. I know I'm 3 months late, but I'm going to be doing my top 10 albums of 2015. I'm not going to talk too much and ramble on, so I'm going to get straight into it. Some of these in the top 10 I have copies of, some of them I don't. So if I don't have copies of them, I literally, like, they're on my iTunes or whatever, so I'll point that out. Anyway, don't mind my cat, you might be able to see him in the frame, so hi Cinder. Anyway, at number 10 I have Fire is Murder. Hopefully you guys can see this. Holy War, in my opinion, is like one of their best albums. A lot of people I know have said like they sold out on this album, but some of their best songs are on this album. I actually do have their CD as well somewhere, but I picked up this because the vinyl's so pretty. And probably my favourite song on here has to be Fur and Claw. Don't ask me why, it's just, it calls my name when I listen to it, sort of thing, because it's about animals. So yeah, so that's number 10. Are you okay there, sir? At number 9 I have Parkway Drive. Parkway Drive's Ire. I do also have this on a CD, but again I picked up the vinyl because it's pretty sweet. When they toured and played all their some of the stuff off here, was easily one of the best concerts I've been to. And probably my favourite song, if I had to pick one song off of this, would be between Crushed and Bottom Feeder. It's like stuck literally between there. And at number 8 I have Like Moths to Flames, The Dying Things We Live For. I don't have a hard copy of that, but I do have it on my iTunes. Again, another amazing album from them. They never sort of disappoint. And I can't think of the name of the song off the top of my head of theirs. It was one of their singles that they dropped. Fight Fire with Fire? Fighting Fire with Fire, I'm pretty sure. Best fucking song to just jam along to, and literally it gets me in the mood for stuff, so yeah. At number 7 I have Like a Storm, their album Awaken the Fire. Okay, if you haven't heard of them, they're a band from New Zealand, and they're currently based in America, but they are from New Zealand. They hardly ever tour Australia and New Zealand, even though they live over here. So you guys in America feel lucky that you just get to see them all the time. I'd die to see Like a Storm. They're an amazing band. If you haven't heard of them, I highly recommend you check them out. I'll link them in the description. They're sort of like a alternative rock sort of group. They're just a chill sort of band. They actually have a didgeridoo that gets played in some of their songs. So they're pretty cool in my opinion. Anyway, at number 6, I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but at number 6 I have Trivium's Silence in the Snow. Okay, a lot of people have said, like, because Matt doesn't scream that much anymore, that hey, they've sold out, but in my opinion they're evolving as a band. Like, maybe in their next album or something they might bring back more of the screaming, you don't know. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this album. Not quite my favourite by theirs. My favourite album from Trivium is actually The Crusade, but this would be my second favourite album, because obviously I have it on vinyl as well as I have it on CD, and I'm seeing them live next month for the second time, and I'm so freaking excited. So, and to pick a favourite song off of this, I like, it's between Until the World Goes Cold and The Thing that's killing me. They're my two favourite songs. But obviously I love the entire album because it's Trivium. So yeah. At number 5, I have Escape the Fate. Hopefully you guys can see. It's Hate Me by Escape the Fate. Again, this is another band where they say this album's gone horrible, but they're just evolving. They've opened up themselves to new genres of music by doing some, like that acoustic song called Let Me Be, which is one of my favourite songs on the album because it's so different. But Escape the Fate, I'm not being biased, as they're like my second favourite band, but they never disappoint me. But everyone's different. I do have this in CD version as well, but I wanted to pick up the vinyl for when they eventually come back to Australia and I get it signed, hopefully. And yeah, it's not quite one of my favourite albums from Escape the Fate, but it's definitely up there. So my favourite song would be, it's between Just a Memory and Breaking Me Down. Breaking Me Down obviously is, I relate to it quite a lot, that's why I like it so much. So yeah. But yeah, if you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend you check it out. There's just a whole lot of different elements and lots of different genres in one album, which that's what I like about this one. Their previous one, which was Ungrateful, was like more heavy, like their normal sort of sound, which was also great. But this is also great too. Sorry if I'm talking a little bit fast. I don't know why I am. Anyway, at number 4, I have Wage War. Their album Blueprints. It was their debut album. It's a killer of an album. If you don't know Wage War, go check them the fuck out. They're like a post-hardcore / hardcore sort of band. They're a lot like For All Eternity, which they're Australian, if you haven't heard of them. But Wage War, they're a 5-piece band. I think they're from America somewhere. I can't think of where they are from off the top of my head. But their favourite song of mine is Young Blood. That song is actually about a guy that they knew that took his own life. And yeah, I highly recommend you just check out that song. I might link it here somewhere on the screen if you just want to check it out. Because they're very, Wage War are such an underrated band and they deserve more freaking exposure. So yeah. Anyway, number 3. Oh, actually, back to Wage War. I don't have a hard copy of their album, but I really want one. So yeah, but I do have their album on iTunes, which I got that the second it came out. So I love Wage War so much. I actually stayed up all night till the actual release date and bought it as soon as it came out. That's how good they are. Anyway, yeah, number 3. I have Ice Nine Kills album, Every Trick in the Book. They have been one of my favourite bands for quite a while, probably, I think about 3-4 years. I never got into them when they first were evolving as a band. The first album I listened to was the one where they covered, I can't think of the name of the song off the top of my head, but they covered a song, which that's what got me into Ice Nine Kills. This album of Ice Nine Kills, it's a album where like every song is based on like a, not a myth, like a story. Like there's a book about Carrie, there's a song about Carrie. It's like all horror related. If you're into that sort of stuff, I highly recommend you check out Every Trick in the Book. Such a great album. And my favourite song, I can't think of the name of the song off the top of my head, which is very disappointing. if I remember what it's called, I'll type it on the screen. Because yeah, it's one of their singles off the album. It's a freaking amazing song. All the songs on the album is amazing. But as I said, I don't have a physical copy. I've only got it on iTunes. But it's better than not having it at all. So if you're someone like me that sometimes doesn't have the money to buy physical copies, even getting it on iTunes will help our bands. So yeah. Anyway, to number 2, I have Five Finger Death Punch. Got Your Six. I actually have the CD. I'm waiting for my vinyl to come in the mail. Five Finger Death Punch again are one of my favourite bands in the world. So I'm not being biased. This album is freaking amazing in my opinion. Again, they've got different elements in some of their songs. Like they've gotten a really, really acoustic song called I Apologise, which it's a lot different, but it's different in a good way because it shows that they can do other stuff. But then they had a bit of a fun song with that Jekyll and Hyde. The video for that is fucking hilarious. I highly recommend you check it out if you haven't seen the video for Jekyll and Hyde. But I mean, they got a lot of hate for that song, but I don't see the harm in bands having one fun song here and there just to have a bit of a muck around. Not every song has to be serious and relatable. So yeah, but my favourite song, I've got 2 favourite songs on this album. It's between Ain't My Last Dance and Wash It All Away. But I love this whole album in general because it's just amazing, and I'm lucky enough they're coming to Australia next month, and I have meet and greet, and I'm so freaking excited to see them. So if you're in Australia, definitely I recommend you go to their show. They're supporting Black Sabbath on their tour, but they're also doing 2 side shows in, I think it's Melbourne and Sydney. So yeah, definitely go. But I'm pretty sure you've probably heard of Five Finger Death Punch. But yeah, if you haven't heard the new album, definitely worth checking out if you're like a metal sort of fan. But yeah, I'm not being biased, as I said, because they do have 1 or 2 crappy songs, which I'm not going to talk about too much. But yeah. Anyway, to my number 1, it's pretty obvious. Again, I'm not being biased because they're my favourite band in the world. But my number 1 is Bullet for My Valentine's Venom. It's just, the second I heard it, it just blew my mind. They're my favourite band, first band I ever sort of got into, and this album did not disappoint. There was like maybe a few songs that weren't as good as all the others, but, and yes, I do have a CD copy of this too. If I love the albums enough, I usually get copies of both. But yeah, the elements on this, but there's not many elements genre-wise on this album. But there's like, you got your slowish sort of songs that then come and thrash out, and then you've got like that slow song, and then you've got that ballady sort of song like You Want a Battle, Here's a War. One of my favourite freaking songs. They need to get their asses back to Australia. I haven't seen them since 2013, and as I said, they're my favourite band in the world. And yeah, my favourite songs, I've probably got 3 favourite songs. My favourite is Army of Noise, then with Venom and Pariah. They're my 3 favourite songs on this album. Any of these albums I've listed off, if you like them as well, tell me your favourite songs in the comments down below. I'm curious to know what other people think about the songs on this or any of the other albums I've talked about. Anyway, that's it for my favourite albums of 2015. So I'm going to get into, I've got a few honourable mentions. I'm going to start off with one that people actually hated a lot. Is Disturbed. Hope you guys can see. It's immortalized. When they first released the Vengeful one, I was fucking just mind blown. But then they released Fire It Up. And I know they've gotten a lot of shit for that song because it's about smoking weed. But as I said, in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with bands wanting to have just a song that's not relatable to anything and just want to sing about something that they either like to do or whatever. But their cover of Sound of Silence is fucking amazing. David's voice is just godly. So yeah, there's not a lot to say about this album, but it is one of my favourites of 2015. But didn't make it into my top 10. And my favourite song, I'm not going to say the cover because that'd be pretty stupid. I do enjoy the Vengeful one. Or I do also like, I think it's Immortalized, the title track album. So if you haven't, you've probably checked it out, so don't bother checking it out, but it is good. I highly recommend it if you haven't heard it. Anyway, another honourable mention. I actually don't have any hard copies of these, but Born of Osiris, their album Soul Sphere, is fucking hands down top notch. Highly recommend you check out that too. Another honourable mention is an Australian band called Valentine. The album, I think it's an EP actually, I think. The Reject of Humanity. That came out, it was like early last year. Because they opened up Soundwave and they played some of their stuff, which was pretty dope. Another one is Black Tongue, the Unconquerable Dark. That's a tongueful. Another top-notch album. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see them when they came to Perth, so I don't know what they're like live. But all the other bands I've listed off are fucking amazing live. But Black Tongue's new album from last year is amazing. Definitely, again, recommend you check them out. Then the last honourable mention is A Night in Texas. They're from here in Australia. They're from over in, I think, Melbourne. Correct me if I'm wrong. And their album, The God Delusion. It's one of the best, like, death metal albums I've ever heard. I think they're between death metal, deathcore. But if you don't know who they are, check them out. I'll link them in the description. And I'll also link Valentine in the description because they're Australian in case you don't know them. But yeah, that's it for this video anyway. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry I'm like 3 months late. But at least it's done. So I'll see you guys very, very soon with a new video. I've got lots of ideas happening. So get excited. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down here somewhere along the bottom. And check out my links in the description. Go like my Facebook page, please. Follow me on Twitter. And stalk me on Instagram. I have lots of stuff on Instagram. And stay delicious. And you want to say goodbye to my cat? Let's say goodbye to my cat. Let's say goodbye to my kitty. Say bye, kitty. Say bye. Say bye. You sleepy. Bye, guys.